A lot of Christians feel guilty about their Bible study life, and it's not because they hate the Bible or they don't want to learn about God. It's because they keep trying methods that just don't seem to stick. Just read more or wake up earlier or just follow this Bible study plan just doesn't seem to work like it does for everybody else. And sometimes I'm afraid that people start thinking that because they're having difficulty, that somehow this reflects some type of spiritual failure on their part. That is not the case. Because maybe your problem is not just spiritual discipline. What if it's just that no one has ever taught you an approach that fits your natural learning style? That's the approach in Wired for the Word by Joe Ensley. And honestly, this 56-page book packed a punch and was way more interesting than I initially thought it was going to be. And it's because there's so many books on how to study the Bible. What makes this one unique, though, is that I had never heard of a book that brought in your natural learning styles, your multiple intelligences, we call it in the education world. So this to me felt like a brand new approach to Bible study, and it was really exciting. So this book is for you if you are struggling to consistently study the Bible and you feel like you're just hitting a brick wall every time that you try. If you've tried a bunch of different methods and none of them work, stick around because I promise you that this book is going to offer you a brand new approach. Because the problem that this book is solving is not how do I study the Bible harder? Instead, it's how do I take my approach to learning, the way I've been wired by God to learn, and apply that to Scripture. This quote right here shows how Ensley approaches Bible study. He says, some people naturally connect through images, others through sound, others through action, and others through structure or imagination. When these differences are ignored, people often assume that they're struggling spiritually, when in reality, they have simply not been shown how to engage Scripture in a way that fits how they are wired. Read and read more. They try to take notes, they try to highlight, they try to look up all these different things, but they're not ever looking inward to see how they naturally learn. As an educator myself for almost 15 years now in the public school system, I know how important it is to try to appeal to different learning styles in my classroom. But I've never heard anybody apply that to Bible study before. And so I think it's so interesting that Ensley does this. Ensley does bring in various different Bible study methods that you may have heard of and have been used across history. Things like Lectio Divina, inductive Bible study, SOAP, and so many other different type of methods that are popular. But the important thing is that he doesn't merely explain the methods, he adapts them. So each section kind of explores how different learners might naturally be able to approach this specific method according to their learning style. So the way that a kinesthetic learner might approach the SOAP method might be different than a way an auditory learner might approach that same method. And at the end of each section, he gives practical outlines, he gives sample questions, study methods, different types of things that different types of people can use to study the Bible. So honestly, I think that this is so valuable because I think so many people struggle and just never look there, never look at their learning style and kind of think that they have to follow one specific pattern because somebody that they respect or a teacher that they like studies the Bible this way, so they want to study the Bible that way, but that doesn't necessarily equate to success in studying the Bible. Another thing that I personally appreciated about this book was the historical aspect in each section. He has historical figures and different people throughout church history that have used specific study methods and how those methods may have evolved over time. People like Augustine and Wesley and other major figures that are prominent in church history. So I think in doing so, he avoids being framed as somebody presenting productivity hacks that just make the Bible easier to read automatically. But these are things that people have been doing throughout all of church history. They're not novel or new ideas, but things that are tried and true. And there is another quote that really gets to the heart of this book that I think you would appreciate. And he says, when you understand how you naturally process information, you can begin to engage Scripture and prayer more effectively. Instead of forcing yourself into a single method, you can begin using approaches that align with how God has wired you. This leads to greater consistency, deeper understanding, and a more meaningful connection with His Word. And if that sounds like exactly what you've been looking for, then this book can be a great beneficial help to you. Finding the right approach that matches how you learn will open up the way that you study the Bible. Now, here's what this book is not saying. It's not giving you excuse for not developing discipline. Obviously, studying the Bible is going to take consistency. It's going to take effort. It's going to require of you. But Ensley is interested in forming rhythms, he calls it. And I love that phrase of how to incorporate studying the Bible into our daily patterns, our daily rhythms, so it becomes part of everything that we do. So, kind of stepping back, I would say that this book would help out people who have been struggling in finding the right method to read the Bible, new believers who don't know where to start, teachers who have students underneath them that they can help kind of guide them along a specific path. And even longtime Christians that maybe have felt a little bit stuck in their routine over time, doing the same thing, and it kind of becomes a task or drudgery rather than finding the beauty of God's truth in Scripture. Because that's what this is all about, right? About seeing God's truth, seeing his character, coming to know him better and loving him more. That's what Bible study is about. And that's what this book is trying to do. Engage with Scripture in a meaningful way that will help people more. And for a book this short, that is a very impressive thing for it to accomplish. If you are interested in purchasing a book, I'll leave an affiliate link down below, or you can just check out the Gospelologian channel, which is the channel that belongs to the author himself. He has great videos on there. Or if you're interested in seeing some of the videos that I have about Bible study methods, I will leave a link to the playlist here at the end. Thanks for watching. My name is Eric. Stay blessed, stay bookmarked.